2016 is when I checked in. I moved here to Florida, and that's when my life began to change. Um, I am a recovering alcoholic, a sinner, and a Christian man of God. My life has been transformed through God's grace and mercy, and this is my story. So I was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, September 13th, 1983. That makes me 34 years old today. I grew up, my grandma raised me and my two sisters and my brother, and she did the best she could. I'll forever be a grandma's boy. Grew up playing sports, football, basketball, and I was really good at it too, man. So now to the hard part. When I was 5 years old, I still lived with my mom and dad. My dad had me and my brother and my sister playing Cowboys and Indians, and I was my dad's only son, like his real son. I have a stepbrother, and he had me tie my brother and my sister up on the couch with their face down on the couch and tie their hands behind their back on the couch. My mom came after me and tried to grab my BB gun from me, and I heard a loud bang, and I looked over, my mom's falling to the ground with a bullet through her head, and I saw blood pouring out everywhere, and my mom was dead right before my eyes. And like I said, I was only 5 years old, but I just remember being lost and confused, but knowing like my mom was dead, shot by my dad, gone forever. And my dad went to jail, but he only got 5 years for manslaughter, said it was an accident. My grandma took custody of us, and and then soon after that, my grandma, she got me into to see a psychiatrist for the next 7 years, one-on-one with a psychiatrist twice a month. And the only thing I remember that teaching me is how to block it out, how to not think about that, and that's exactly what it did. So I was a really delinquent child. Like, I grew up fighting nonstop, getting in trouble in school, and just doing all the wrong things. It wasn't but 2 years after that, my step-grandpa, he came around and he started molesting me. And I just remember being so confused, like, why would someone who loves me want to touch me? And he told me, don't ever tell nobody, or I could get in big trouble. And I didn't. I never told anybody until a year and a half ago. And carried that around, man. And right when my dad shot my mom, I picked up this bag and I put loss, fear, hatred, a lot of hatred. And I started carrying that bag, man. My grandpa started molesting me, and I carried around unworthiness, confusion, and just so confused. And some more hatred and bitterness. And turned all the wrong ways, man. By the time I was 10 years old, I was getting suspended and fighting all the time. And being a delinquent child into that bag. By the time I was 12 years old, I was drinking and doing drugs and stealing, breaking in cars, running around with the wrong crew, you know. And by 13, I started going to jail. And I put being a follower in that bag, and I can honestly say that today, that I was following all the wrong ways and all the wrong people and not knowing what to do, and I turned to crime to block out any of those emotions that I never dealt with as a child. I started doing more drugs then, drinking and just doing any drugs I could at any time throughout my whole teenage years. Spent most of it locked up in and out of jail, and that was like a second home to me. Like, that's where all my friends was. I wasn't scared to go there at all. And when I turned 16, I got into a high-speed car crash with one of my best friends at the time, and that's what we did for a living. We stole cars, and we got in a high-speed wreck. I woke up and my eyeball was popping out and my ear was hanging halfway on, like hanging on by a thread, 88 stitches down my whole ear. And I'm running, trying to hold my eyeball in and my ear from falling off. And of course I had to go to the hospital. The cops was waiting there and sold me back on. From there I went to jail. And when I got to jail, I found out that my best friend died from that car wreck. So bam, I put shame, guilt, more loss, and just into that bag, man. And I carried that around for a long time. Like, it really haunted me. So by the time I turned 18, I got out of jail and I turned 18. I moved from Dayton, Ohio. That's where I'm originally from, to Florida, never to move back. And from there, I met my kid's mother, and we had 3 children, Amen, Angel, and Jacob, 2 boys and a girl. And I knew immediately, like, that was my purpose in life. That's what I always wanted, was my own close family, something I never had growing up. So I quit doing crime for the most part. For the most part, like, I didn't do near as much as I did as a juvenile, that's for sure. But I turned even more so to drinking, like every day. Literally every single day. I go to work and I drink. And I didn't know what I was doing to myself. I just knew that that was my new way to block out the emotions that I never dealt with as a kid. So I went from psychiatrist to block all these feelings and emotions out. That's what it taught me. Teenager, turning to crime, being a follower, to block all these feelings and emotions out. As I turned an adult, turned into alcohol and drugs full time to block all these feelings and emotions out. So as my marriage went on, the alcohol started to take over a little bit more, and we was always fighting, like always arguing and fighting, and we was just hanging on, staying together for the kids' sake. When I turned 30, I felt like we needed a break, so I didn't move. I went back to Ohio, to Dayton, Ohio, where I'm from, to visit my sisters. And a couple days after being there, I met with my childhood best friend. We grew up across the street from each other, Tommy, and we went out and partied. And we was at this house party, and I did meth for my first and only time, and was so drunk, like I was in such a crazy state of mind. Well, my friend Tommy snuck off, and he went to the bathroom. I don't know how long he was gone. I know when I realized and got up to look for him, he come walking out of the bathroom and fell face down on the floor, had a needle in his arm. He had shot up heroin and OD'd. And like I said, I was in such a crazy state of mind. This is another time where I know that God was with me there. Because if he would have offered that to me, I would have done it, and that would have been me on the floor. So he died from that wreck. I rushed him to the hospital, talking to him the whole time. You know, this is your last chance. Wake up. I hear you breathing a little bit. I get him there. He's DOA, dead on arrival. And man, I went to such a dark place then. I mean, I felt cursed. Like everyone that I love not only dies, but dies right in front of me. And I still struggle with that a little bit. So man, I went to a really dark place, and after staying there for a couple more weeks, I was interrogated and everything, and they told me I could go back to my family. So I went back to my kid's mother and my kids, and the drug use and the drinking got worse. I turned even harder to it, and I started doing drugs that I had never done before, that I said I would never do. And of course, the fighting got even worse, so much worse, so much faster. I thought my life was in a spiral from all the drinking I was doing. When I turned to that pipe, boy, my life went in a downward spiral faster than I ever imagined it would. And it wasn't long after that, me and my kid's mother agreed that we needed to get a divorce. So I moved back to Florida. We lived in Georgia at the time, and she moved out here to Bedford with our kids. The best move she's ever made. So I get to Florida, and I went to the Salvation Army there. Stayed 3 months. I ain't never been sober 3 months in my life, y'all. And I heard some things in there that I thought I learned, and then I got out, and I'm free. I'm like, I don't have any kids. I don't have no wife to tell me what I can and can't do. And man, I went hard, harder than I ever had for the next 3 months. In a city of the state that I'm not even familiar with. So I ended up getting jumped and robbed, and my jaw broke in 4 different places, jaw wires shut and stabbed in the back twice and left for dead. And man, I woke up in that hospital, and I had to sign these papers, and on that paper it said your address, like where's home? And that's the first time it really hit me, like I don't even know. I guess I'm homeless. So not only did I almost just die, not only did I lose my family, my kids, But now I'm alone. I don't have anything or anybody. Um, yeah, I called out here and I called the Salvation Army, the Dallas Salvation Army, and JJ answered the phone. And that man talked to me for like 20 minutes and encouraged me more than I ever would have imagined that this is where I should come to. I called my kid's mother, told her what I feel I need to do. I want to come and get further my recovery and get serious and be back in my kid's life. Man, being there in Florida for a year and a half away from my kids, out of everything I've been through, that's the most depressing, that's the hardest thing I've ever been through and had to deal with. And I couldn't stay in that. I couldn't stay away from them. I had to come here and I had to get my life together. I had truly hit bottom. It took that for me. I left the part out that when I was in the hospital too, I had pancreatitis for the 5th time and the doctors gave me 3 years to live. And I looked at him and I'm like, man, I'm 30 years old. He said, and you'll be 33 and the youngest I've ever buried due to alcoholism. I'm like, oh, you're serious? Okay. So, yeah, man, I'm facing death. I done lost everything. So, anyways, I came out here, man. I checked into this program, and the first thing I did was shut up and realized I don't know nothing. All these years, yeah, I thought I knew everything, man. I thought I could figure it all out for my own. And when I came here and I got sober and I knew that I'm committed to this, and I sat down and I shut up like they told me. Not in here, in AA, my sponsor, that's what he told me. And that's what I started doing, y'all. Like, I started taking the advice and the suggestions of the men who have gone before me that I can see have changed their life. And I started not just to hear them, which is what a lot of us do. That's why it takes so many times of coming in and out of these rooms. We come and we hear, and it sounds good and all, but we ain't really listening. And then to listen and to apply that into our life, that application, to apply that wisdom, that knowledge, and those suggestions into our life and live by that. That's the hard part right there. So that's what I did, man. I came here, I got a sponsor, and I hit the ground running, and I just walked the walk, man. When I won this extra mile award thing they do here, I'll never forget. That's something JJ said that I didn't even realize I was doing. He said, one thing about Jeremiah is you won't hear him walking around talking about his recovery. He walks it. And now today I walk it and I talk it. But it took a lot of learning, a lot of sitting down and shutting up and listening to be able to get to this point. And now I walk it like I talk it. And so my life began to change, y'all. Like, it began to change, and it became obvious because people were telling me that. People could see the change in me, and I could feel it. And it all started with honesty, with really getting honest with myself. I practiced something that my sponsor told me. He said, if you really want to get honest with yourself, tell on yourself every time you lie. Like, just stop right there. I just lied. Well, that ain't the whole truth. And I started to do that. He said, you're going to feel so stupid from doing that constantly that it's going to make you stop lying. And yeah, I felt so stupid, yo, because I was doing that like every other sentence. Like, I didn't even know how much of a liar I was until I started trying to get honest. And yeah, man, that was a struggle right there. That was almost overwhelming in itself because I felt so stupid about it. But after a little bit of time, I began to notice that I really can get honest with myself, first of all, and be honest with other people. Like, once I started to see that, I prayed to God and I asked him to change my outlook, to change my perception on life. Like, I still have a very negative outlook on life. I'm still really judgmental in my own mind. This is all while I'm still in this program. And I asked God several times to help me to change my perception on life, help me to stop being so judgmental on myself and on other people, and help me to not have so much fear, that fear, shame, and guilt. Please start taking that away. And he did. And man, when he started to take that fear away, I began to notice that I have a whole totally different outlook on life now. I have a new positive outlook on life. And I don't go into certain places or meeting certain people with judgmental mindset. I go into things like that looking to learn something new and taking a closer look at myself, that I still have a lot of learning to do, and being open-minded and willing to listen and to continue to work on myself. So when I started to feel and see that I have a new outlook on life, like y'all, that joy that they talk about, I felt that joy. I felt that joy for the
All right.
I felt that joy in my heart for the first time. And man, what they was talking about, I have no clue what that was like, but that feeling, boy, that's something I can never get enough of that joy, and I go after that every chance I get now. I'm doing things like this, going to do all the public speaking I do, and to minister, and the kids, doing prison ministry. That's what brings me joy, and I go after that. So when I started to feel that joy, oh my gosh, I like mixing those things together. There's one thing I was missing still. I still didn't love myself. And I asked God again. I turned to prayer, and I turned to scripture, and I asked God to please show me how to love myself and to love other people more. To love the what I used to call the unlovable person, the criminal, the addict, the manipulator, the liar, the thief, the everything I used to be. And to meet a person like that and say, I'm going to love them anyway, right where they're at. That's love. That love, man. The love God's filled me with today. I cry so easily now, y'all, because of the love that He's filled me with. The love for myself. You know, honestly, I used to think that was some gay cliche thing to say. You have to love yourself. Well, that's something women do, not us men. No, that's real, though. Like, we really got to love ourselves. And when I started to feel that, mixed with the whole different new positive outlook on life, me being able to be honest, that joy, and then the love and all that mixed together, oh my goodness, I could tell like I am a completely different man. By the time I graduated this program, I worked this Bridges to Life program that they offer here twice, worked all the steps, got my kids back in my life. And God has provided me with so much. Those things right there were the most important things. And today, yeah, I can honestly say that, like, I am a completely changed and transformed man due to the grace of God. Amen. And all glory to God, because I don't even know how I got to this point. I just know I'm staying obedient and walking wherever He leads me to. Along the way, emptying that baggage out I've been talking about, that bag was so heavy, y'all. Like, I didn't notice how heavy it was because I was so used to carrying that thing around. And until I started emptying that out, and then by the time I graduated this program, I emptied everything out of that bag. I've been sober almost 19 months now, and I know my purpose. I know my purpose today is to help the next man empty his bag out. Amen. And that's what I'm driven to do. That's what brings me joy. Any place that God leads me, I will go. And I will go happy. Amen. With an open mind, willing to do anything and stay obedient. This program right here, y'all, this place right here is such a good place. Like, I don't get to come back here enough as much as I'd like to. But man, when I come back here, I just feel the love. I feel at home. Like, we're all in this together, y'all. And we have to come to a point where we no longer want to run the show and do this thing on our own, because we can't. There's no question about it. We can't. We have to be open-minded and willing to listen to other people. And it all starts with that true surrender to God. And for me, still, that's on a daily basis, 4 times a day. More, I probably need more than that, but 4 times where I'm sitting down and I'm surrendering to God, because I'll take my will right back. You know, first thing in the morning, at 10 o'clock, at lunchtime, as soon as I get home and get in that shower, and then at nighttime too. It's not just a once a day thing, because I mean, that's where it all starts with, man. So for me, I'm just happy and grateful to be alive and well today. I'm happy and grateful that God uses me as much as He does. He's led me to this prison ministry here in Texas. The main thing I feared coming here was prisons, getting caught up in y'all's prison system, because it's crazy out here. Like in other states, we look at Texas like you do not want to go there. You're caught up in the prison system, you will be stuck. And now he took me into prisons, y'all, like to help people, to just from sharing my testimony and the things I've learned. He's taken me to juvenile prisons. Like I wish that someone could have reached me as a juvenile, and now God's using me to reach these same juveniles that I wish that I could have been reached at that point. Homeless shelters, transitional living places, people being released from prisons and rehab. And the newest thing, which I really don't know what I'm doing with it, but I started my own ministry, Bless Up Ministries, about 3 months ago. And man, it's taken off so fast that God has led me now to speak to people about gun violence and gun sense and the gun violence in our schools. The gun violence in our schools with our youth is so uncalled for. I don't understand. I don't know what I'm gonna do about it. I don't know what to do about it. But I know I'm gonna go where God leads me to, that's for
Amen.
sure.
Amen. All right.
Yeah, man. If y'all want to hear anything else I say, what I've said today, just please hear this. We can change, y'all. We can change, and it starts with us. It starts with us doing it for ourselves. We can't do it to impress somebody else. We can't do it for our kids. It has to be God, recovery, then the family. I never understood that. I always said, no, nothing comes before my family. Little did I know I was putting drugs, money, all the wrong things before my family the whole time. And it wasn't until I started to work through those emotions and those feelings that I never had until I realized that, and I can get honest with myself and say now that yeah, that's where it starts at. So we can't change, y'all. Please start listening to people, take some advice, write things down. And I don't want to tell y'all to shut up or nothing like that, like they told me, but maybe, maybe listen a little more. Yeah, because what they told me is the more you're talking, the more you're just saying what you already know. The more you listen, the better chance you have of learning something new. And there's a lot of new things that we can learn in here. And it's time to put all the excuses to the side. This place can't keep me sober. These people can't keep me sober. Because you know what? You're absolutely right if you think that. There ain't a place in this world that can keep you sober. There ain't a person in this world that can keep you sober except for yourself. We can change it. It starts with us. I love y'all. I hope we all make it.
Love you, dog.
You tired of it?
Oh, yeah, you know I'm a baby.